night in America. I'm your host, Jeremy Schnell. I have Jonathan Baxter here with me. We're going to talk some hockey as the season is fastly approaching. It's starting in just a little over 2 weeks. What do you think about the season starting? You excited, Jonathan?
I'm thrilled. We're happy down here in Florida for our hockey season.
Yeah, as much as you guys think that hockey isn't that big down here in Florida, we actually love our hockey. All right, so we're going to go down the list of divisions today, and we're going to look and see who we think is going to have a breakout year this season. Who is your breakout team this year, Jonathan?
Well, in the West, I got to tell you, I like the Stars. They went out and got Tyler Seguin from Boston, and I really think they're the up-and-coming team. They're in that Central Division now with the Blackhawks, and hard to say the Blackhawks won't win that division after they pretty much dominated the NHL last year. And in the East, Detroit's getting kind of old, but I still think that they're a force to be reckoned with. They went out and got Alfredson and Stephen Weiss from our Panthers, so we'll see how the season unfolds.
Yeah, I didn't think that Alfredson would leave would leave where he was. He was doing pretty good up there in he was in Ottawa. He was doing pretty good up there in Ottawa, and he's been there his whole career, right?
Yeah.
And
wow.
It was weird to see. And plus, Weiss, he was here in Florida his whole career too. It was weird to see how a couple players who had been with one team their whole career leave in free agency this year.
Yeah, Detroit offers them that chance to go out and compete on a year-to-year basis, so I can't really get mad at Weiss for taking the opportunity.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to see Detroit in the Eastern Conference this year as the divisions have switched up this year.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna be seeing a lot more Detroit than usual.
Yeah, it's not so much a good thing here in Florida as
it might be scary.
I mean, it might be good for the NHL because they're going to get a lot more money since you got a lot of teams that like to travel in Toronto and Montreal, Ottawa, Detroit, of course, and Boston. All those teams love to travel down here to South Florida, and there's always a good turnout of away team fans here in Florida.
Yeah, always. You can always expect those Canadian teams to draw a crowd, too, as we know.
Especially Montreal, as they always sell out our BB&T Center.
Yeah, and Winnipeg, too.
Yeah, up in the Peg, they like to... It gets cold up there, so they like to travel down here,
You can't blame them.
Mm. But let's take a look at the Western Conference Central Division, and... What do you see? What four teams do you see making the playoffs this year out of that division?
Well, you obviously got to go with the Blackhawks here. They're probably going to win that division.
Yeah.
Easily. I like the Blues a lot. They're one of those teams that just is always in there in the bunch that makes it to the second, sometimes the third round, rarely. And I think they've got a big chance to make a statement this year. Minnesota, I think, they have to make it back to the playoffs after their GM went out and got Suter and Parise. And like I said before, Dallas is a big sleeper team coming out of that division.
Yeah, you saw how Dallas last year, they looked like they were going to be set after they went out and got Jágr, and then they just traded him away. I thought that was a bad decision on their part by trading Jágr away mid-season.
Yeah, it was a little questionable. I don't really remember what they got in return. Not much, I don't think. But they went out, they had a remake with their logo and everything, and they're starting anew.
Yeah, a lot of teams changing their logo this year or changing their jerseys, as you saw. Nashville Predators now have those bright yellow jerseys that a lot of people are making fun of for being a little too bright. But we'll see if the change to a couple of these teams' jerseys is going to affect their play on the ice.
Yeah, we'll see. It seems to be doing well for the Dolphins.
Yes, of course. Our Miami Dolphins are 3-0 this year, but we're talking about hockey on this show, Jonathan.
Well, what can I say? I'm happy.
We all are. We all are very happy. But what about Winnipeg? Do you like Winnipeg this year? They had an okay year last year.
They're one of those teams that could pull it together, but I really just don't see it. Pavlik in goal is way too weak to get anything done for them in the playoffs. But I mean, they could prove me wrong, so I'm not the decision maker here.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see how that division plays out. A lot of tough teams in that division, of course, and I mean, besides Colorado, all these teams had a chance to make the playoffs last year at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, Colorado's one of those teams like Edmonton with a bunch of young studs. Now they got McKinnon out there, so give them a couple years, they'll be out there competing for the division and the conference.
Yeah, well, of course, you saw the Panthers. They had their they had their young stars last year come up with Huberdeau, and you got Barkov. They got Barkov coming in this year too. But you saw you saw how they rebuilt the year before, and without those young players, maybe that's something that Colorado needs to do. Go out and get a couple of veterans to play with those new rookies that they got in there.
Yeah, signing those veterans helps a lot late in the season. They have that experience that really pays off. Like we saw John Madden do here in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, he got beat up and hit a lot in that playoff series against the Devils, but he was a great presence in that locker room.
Yeah, definitely. Big names to have, those grizzled guys. They've been there.
Yeah, always need those savvy veterans. So moving on to the Pacific Division. Now this division isn't as well, maybe it is. It's pretty strong. I mean, Edmonton is up and coming, and then you got. I mean, Calgary. You didn't really hear much from them last year, but what do you think about this division, Johnny?
You know what? Last year I loved Anaheim. They were my pick in the playoffs to go all the way, which clearly didn't work out. But they got that Victor Fast guy, Jonas Hiller in net. They just lost Bobby Ryan to the Senators, but I still think they're a strong contention for that division. Calgary, it's an off year for Calgary. They got rid of Jerome McGinley. They're rebuilding. It's time for them to realize that they can't compete. Edmonton, that's a big question mark. They have so many young studs, and I really haven't seen much. I mean, the talent's there. They just can't put it together. Obviously the Kings, Jonathan Quick can steal a season for you. The guy's a stud. And Vancouver's a big question mark in that division. What do we expect from Luongo? The guy's been iffy in the playoffs. I love him. He's one of my favorite players, but he almost got run out of town last year.
Yeah, well, they traded away Schneider, so now he is the goalie of the future for those Canucks. What do you think the fans' response is going to be up there in Vancouver?
Well, it's a hockey city. If they're winning, I can't really see what they're going to argue with. So Luongo just has to stay at that level that we know he can compete at. Yeah,
of course. He had a bunch of great years down here in Florida in Sunrise. And once he went up to Vancouver, he was good during the season, but once he got to the playoffs, he seemed to choke every year.
Yeah, that one season, I think it was 2011, where they made it all the way to the Cup and lost to Boston. That team, that was a great year for that team, but you can't just blame Luongo. You have the Sedin twins who kill it in the regular season and then kind of don't do anything in the playoffs. I mean, Kessler was the only guy in that team that played with any heart in that last game.
Yeah.
And that's something that stuck out with me.
Yeah, I honestly thought Vancouver was going to win the Cup that year, and I was rooting for them to win the Cup because, I was up there in the Northwest rooting for Vancouver since, Seattle doesn't have a hockey team, which we may get to later. But I want to see Vancouver really win. I want to see them win this division this year because you got San Jose and you got Los Angeles in this division, both very good teams. But I think Vancouver is much better on all sides of the ice.
Yeah, my pick from this division. I think Phoenix is going to surprise some people.
Really?
It's a lofty statement, but Mike Smith over there, I think he's a great goaltender. He can steal them some games, maybe put them somewhere in the playoffs to compete.
Yeah. Also, don't sleep on Anaheim. They're one of those teams that just sneak into the playoffs every year.
Well, yeah. I mean, last year they were the second seed, but they lost in the first round. So
Right. Right. They
yeah,
always sneak up on you. They don't get that national attention that you think they would.
right.
But yeah. So who do you think wins the Western Conference overall?
You know what? It's hard to argue with Chicago, but I think they're gonna win. But if I had to root for a team, it would be St. Louis.
Yeah. They've lost in the first round 2 years in a row, haven't they?
Um, I know they lost last year to the Kings. I forget the year before.
Yeah.
They lost.
I think they all did. They lose to the Kings twice in a row.
Um,
Hmm.
no, because the Kings beat the Canucks 2 years ago.
Right. Right.
So I don't know. I mean, the Blues are one of those teams that have the talent to get to that level, but they've been just short the last few years.
Yeah. I honestly really hope they do well this year. It's one of those teams that just sneak up on. They snuck up on you 2 years ago. I think they did really well, and it's one of those teams that are up and coming, and it's fun to see all these teams that you wouldn't think would be in the postseason. Just they get there, and it's going to be fun to watch the teams this year. Which team is going to be surprising, and I'm excited for this hockey season.
Yeah, you always hope for some new faces in the playoffs. Sick of seeing like Pittsburgh, New York, Philadelphia every year. No offense to them, they're good teams though.
Yeah, especially the Capitals. Ugh.
Oh yeah, Ovi's got to make a statement.
Yeah, he's got to have one of those years where he scores a lot of goals every year. He does, and he gets a lot of points. But when he gets to the playoffs, he's the only one carrying the load, and I think that's what the problem is. You can't have one guy carry the load the whole way through the playoffs.
Well, I mean, he's got the capability to carry a team, but he always kind of just falls short. Like I'll watch series where he'll be not walking, but skating back and just being lazy on defense, costing the team goals and eventually games.
Yeah. If you watch how the Capitals play, it's really pass the puck to Ovechkin and hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys that he's a threat to score whenever he's out there. So, I mean, getting Ribeiro out there on the same line with him, getting all those assists helped too early in the year.
Yeah. So, surprise player out of the Western Conference this year for you?
Player, let's see. It's a tough question.
You think Seth Jones will be up there in the NHL this year? Or you think he'll be in the development league?
They might play him, but I would hope for his sake that they put him in development league. Nashville's a team that competes every year also in that tough Central Division, and I think it'd be better for him to sit out a year and come back as one of those top 6, top 4 defensemen instead of being a fringe guy that you just play because you draft him 4th overall.
Yeah, you saw what that 1 year of the development league did for Jonathan Huberdeau. He came up and played amazing last year for the Florida Panthers. So maybe just that 1 year will help him out, and he could become one of the premier defensemen in this league.
Yeah, you always like seeing those new faces. So hopefully. And let's see, surprise player from the West. Damn, it's a hard question.
This is really it's tough. It's tough.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say Jamie Benn has a big season for the Stars.
Never heard of him.
You serious?
Yeah. Who is this kid?
I mean, he's a good player. I think you should know who he is.
Really?
I mean, I think he's had a couple of 30-goal seasons.
Really? I've just overlooked it, I guess.
guess.
It's just me.
Yeah.
It's me. I'm making myself sound like I don't know a lot about hockey, am I? Aren't I?
Yeah, I mean, he had 60 points in 71 games
Yeah.
years
So
ago.
I mean, I would go with Parise there in Minnesota.
Yeah, that's a pick. That's a good pick. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, I want to see Minnesota. I think they'll do well this year. I think they still got some questions on that defense, right?
I'm not really familiar with them. I know they have a couple defensive prospects, but I watched them in the playoffs last year. They look like one of those gritty teams that could get it done. And obviously, it was Ryan Suter. He's a rock back there.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm looking at their roster right now. They have Mikko Koivu.
Mm-hmm.
They got let's see. Who else do they have?
Do they have Danny Heatley?
Do they get?
Yeah, they do. He's a stud too.
They got Heatley. Ooh,
yeah,
that's cool. That's good. Good for the Wild going out and get some big name players. For over the past 2 years. Good for them. Anyway, let's take a quick break, Jonathan, and let's discuss the Eastern Conference when we come back. There's a lot of great teams there in that Eastern Conference, and can't wait to talk about that, and can't wait to get started with this NHL season. We'll be right back after this.
You can contact National Sports in a number of ways through Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter with the label National Sports. We love to have you guys a part of our show and can easily join us also through text or call. You're listening to the National Sports radio station on Spreaker.com.
Hello out there, we're on the air, it's hockey night tonight. Bobby scores at the good old hockey game. Oh, the good old hockey game is the best game you can name. And the best game you can name is the good old hockey game. Second period, where players dash with skates aflash. The home team trails behind, but they grab the puck and go bursting up, and they're down across the line. They storm the crease like bumblebees. They travel like a burning flame. We see them slide the puck inside. It's a 1-1 hockey game. Oh, the good old hockey game is the best game you can name. And the best game you can name is the good old hockey game. Third period, last game in the playoffs.
Welcome back into Hockey Night in America. We have Jonathan Baxter here. He's my analyst here. He's got all the information you need to know about the NHL. He's very smart and he knows his stuff. So let's move on to the Eastern Conference, Jonathan.
All right.
Let's see. We got Boston, Buffalo, Detroit, Florida, Montreal, Ottawa, Tampa, and Toronto in the Atlantic Division. That's 8 teams. 8 teams in one division.
Yeah, they gave 8 in each division in the East, only 7 in each one in the West. So we'll see how many teams get edged in each conference.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see how this system is going to work. Now, you want to explain how the system will work this year before we get into the Atlantic Division, Jonathan?
I'd love to. You got your divisions here, and basically the top 3 from each division, no matter how many points, if you're in one of the first 3 spots in the division, you're in the playoffs. And then from there, you have the remaining, 10 teams in the East. And of those teams, the next 2 teams in either division with the most points who aren't in the top 3 get those last 2 spots. A little confusing.
It's very confusing, but I think it'll work. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. It's all Winnipeg's fault. It's their fault.
Yeah, why'd they do it to us?
But it'll be cool to see how this new thing works out. But we're not here to really make fun of any division names, but you see what I'm trying to say here? What division I'm talking about?
No,
The
I'm confused.
the Metropolitan.
Oh, okay, yeah, now I see. All right.
Everybody's been making fun of the Metropolitan Division.
Yeah.
Why name
No,
it? Why name it the Metropolitan Division if you're going to have Carolina and Columbus in it?
Yeah, not much to say there. I mean, why isn't Boston in that?
Yeah, exactly. Boston or Buffalo, at least.
All right, while I have a moment, I'd like to give a shout out to my boy Jared, one of our live listeners here. He's on here every week. We appreciate you listening.
Yeah, Jared knows his hockey too.
Yeah, all right, now back to hockey.
So the Atlantic Division. Who's the surprise team in this division? I know which one you're gonna say, but let's think against bias here, Jonathan.
All right, against bias, I think Montreal is going to come out and surprise some people. You know, they needed size, so they went out and they got Briere. You know, that defensive core is improving with PK Subban, and Carey Price is obviously a stud, so they might surprise some people this year.
Okay, so now go with bias.
With bias, well, you know, those studs down south, the Florida Panthers. You know, they might not be in last this year. We'll see what happens.
I think they're going to surprise a lot of people, and I hope they make the playoffs this year. It was so much fun 2 years ago to see them in the playoffs after a 10-year drought. I feel like hockey is one of the most entertaining sports to watch once you get to the playoffs, especially with the 7-game series against players that like to fight each other every now and then. Once you see the same person for 7 straight games, it gets a little testy between the teams. But that's one thing that Florida needs. They need that hockey. They need their hockey down here, and they need the playoffs back again.
Yeah, wins equals money. Not much to argue with.
Yeah, and you know, Florida doesn't necessarily draw the best crowds for regular season hockey games, but when we get to the playoffs, we sell out every game, and that's always fun to be there and to witness it firsthand.
Yeah, playoff hockey, it's a whole other level.
But so the 4 teams that you think will make the playoffs in the Atlantic Division.
All right, I'm just gonna rapid fire. Boston, Detroit, Montreal, and Ottawa. I'm gonna edge out Toronto here. You know, nothing against them. I don't know. Kadri had a breakout year for them, but I don't see him doing it in the full 82 games. Maybe it's just me, but they're a good team. But I feel like they're gonna just miss the playoffs.
This division is so tough.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah. But Florida
you
right now,
the young teams and the old teams in here.
Yeah, right now Florida is the worst team in the division.
Well, Florida's the worst team in the league. They'd be the worst team in any division.
Yeah, but you look at all the prospects that they have coming up, and I wouldn't be surprised if Florida, you know. No, never mind. I mean, it's
yeah. In 2 years, we can say something, but we're not there yet.
Really? Oh.
I wish. Believe me, I wish.
No, we'll have to see though. Only time will tell.
Of course. It's been telling for 12 years.
It has. We need our playoff hockey back.
Yeah, you know, one thing about this division, that Toronto-Buffalo series, I don't know if you guys saw that line brawl. I think his name is John Scott. Went after Kessel. Kessel slashed him 5 times before. Bozak and one of the other guy came and fought him. And then Jonathan Bernier comes down the ice and fights Ryan Miller and absolutely whoops his ass.
Yeah, that was something, obviously. And this was the preseason game, right?
Yeah, preseason nonetheless. We'll see what happens in the regular season.
Oh no, this is definitely going to be one of the series to watch in the regular season. Buffalo and Toronto, especially since they're so close to in driving distance. You know, the fans are going to get into it.
Oh, I'm sure. Especially Buffalo may start off a little surprising with Ryan Miller in net, but I don't think they're going to make the playoffs anyways.
But what do you think about Tampa?
You know what? They lost LeCavalier. He was a beast back there for years in Tampa Bay. He won them a cup. They have St. Louis still, but he's getting old. Obviously,
He's
Stamkos
still really good.
Yeah, he is still talented, but he's getting up there in age. But they obviously got Stamkos. He's an absolute stud. You know, you could argue that he's a better natural goal scorer than Ovechkin, but that's another discussion that I'm not willing to argue about right now. Still, I don't know. You know, goaltender's a question. Lindback, the guy's a monster. What is he, like 6'4" or something? He's absolutely like the tallest goalie or something. But the guy has so many holes. I don't know. I don't see them being a threat with that problem in net.
What do you think about the signing of Filppula from Detroit?
I mean, the guy. Oh, correction. Lindback is 6'7", even taller.
Oh, wow.
All right. Yeah,
Filppula.
Filppula. The guy's really fast, and he's got a speed that obviously can get you goals if you get those breakaway chances. But it's a bit of an overrated signing, if you ask me.
Really? Yeah, I think Tampa has been talking about him and getting a little too high on him.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to. I mean, EA Sports gives him that 91 speed rating, which is really fast. I mean, you know, all teams have their free agents that they talk about. We talk about Scott Gomez. The guy hasn't really done much in the NHL, but we still hype him up a little bit.
Yeah, well, of course. If you want those players that you go out and sign to do well, of course.
Yeah, of course. You know, I mean, it's a cheap contract, but you never know what you're gonna get.
Exactly. Exactly. But Tampa with Stamkos, you think they do well this year? Do you think they get and just like sneak in the playoffs maybe?
It's a possibility. You know what? If Bishop steals the starting job from Lindback, you never know. Because I think he's better, but you never know what happens. That's the way hockey's been going for years.
It's definitely hockey can go either way. You never know with hockey.
Yep.
Moving on to the Metropolitan Division. The Metropolitan Division has Carolina, Columbus, New Jersey, the New York Islanders, the Rangers, the Philadelphia Flyers, Pittsburgh Penguins, and Washington Capitals. One team to look out for this year, and now I'm gonna say one team to look out for this year is I'm gonna look for Carolina to have a breakout season this year. Now, that doesn't mean make the playoffs, but that means, have a good year, good solid year, maybe come a couple points out from making the playoffs. You never know because they have both Eric and Jordan Stahl. They have that kid from last year that what was his name?
Seaman.
Yeah, they have Seaman.
Oh, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah. And then they have Brett Sutter and Nicholas Blanchard. But all honestly, they have Skinner. That's who I was looking for. Jeff Skinner. He had a good year last year, and he was one of the second year players that people were looking for to have a breakout year last year. And I think he played pretty well. But coming into his third year, I think he's gonna help carry this team along with Eric and Jordan Stahl. And
can't forget Jared. Jared's amazing.
Jared, who?
Jared Stahl.
Oh, right, Jared Stahl. That's right. How did I go over him? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess I was looking at the centers and I saw Jordan and Eric, and I didn't go down to the right wings. Anyway, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, cool. Patrick Doyer is from Spokane, Washington. Shout out to Spokane. Anyway, always cool to see those American hockey players in the NHL.
Yeah. Bobby Ryan representing in Ottawa. He's my boy. I love him.
Yeah, you tweet him.
No, I tweet Huberto. He still hasn't responded though.
Yeah. Who's your favorite follow on Twitter? As far as hockey players go.
Favorite player or like funniest tweets?
Either one.
Favorite player, Huberto, hands down.
That's your favorite follow on Twitter.
Yeah. The funniest stuff. Let me think here. Let me go through who I'm following. These guys, they're on such a tight schedule. Some of them don't even use the Twitters.
We got a lot of funny Florida Panthers down here.
Oh yeah, you know what? I got one. Skinner.
Skinner is?
Skinner tweeted a picture with Taylor Swift. I responded, but he didn't respond back to me.
Oh, poor.
You want to know what I responded?
What?
You don't know if you don't want to know. It was X-rated.
Oh, okay. Guess we don't want to know, as it's
No.
we want to keep the show clean, Jonathan.
Yeah, that's why I resisted.
We don't want to get any strikes against us.
Yep.
Yeah. Any funny players? We got what's his name? The Panthers defenseman, the righty.
Oh, you know what? Markstrom's pretty funny Twitter guy, but he tweets in Swedish.
Yeah, I've heard that he's such a weird person, though.
Yeah, those Swedes.
Especially at goalie, and goalies are always known for being those weird kind of people.
Oh yeah, just ask Patrick Roy. Apparently, the guy used to talk to his posts.
Hey, it worked.
Oh yeah, it worked for years. Oh, another Twitter guy, Paul Bissonnette, Biz Nasty 2.0.
Yeah.
He got like 500,000 followers. It's a good number.
Yeah, shout out to my boy Jonathan Baxter. Oh wait, he's already on the show with me. J Baxt 21. Go follow him. He'll tweet all the hockey things you need to know, and also get a kick out of all the things he tweets.
Oh yeah, you will.
Especially about Tim Tebow.
Take it easy.
Yeah, no, but all right. Back to the Metropolitan Division. Who wins this division and why?
Let's see. I gotta tell you, man. New Jersey's my sleeper pick this year.
Ugh, I hate New Jersey.
You got Henrique, the Panther Killer.
Oh, don't remind me.
Guy's good though.
Jose Theodore, I'll never forgive you for that.
And they went out and got Schneider, so then they got the...
Yeah, that's right.
The ageless Wonder Broder and Schneider fighting out for the starting position.
That's right. I think the Brodeur is I think I saw something the other day that he's been named the starter for game 1.
Yeah, it makes sense. He's been there. He's gonna carry them all the way this year.
You think so?
I mean, they're my sleeper pick.
Oh well, let's hope they do bad in sake of the Panthers, because I'm still holding a grudge against them.
Yeah, nightmares, dude.
Yeah, you wake up in that sweat in the middle of the night and you're like, Henrique, no. Any other teams in this division that you think could make a run at the Cup this year?
Maybe Pittsburgh. I mean, they got that. What's his Sydney? I forget his last name. Corsby. I forgot his last name. You gotta remind me.
Yeah. I like Pittsburgh a lot. Pittsburgh is a good team. They have Malkin, and if Crosby can stay healthy, which has been problems over the past couple of years, I don't know. if Crosby stays healthy, he's the best player in the NHL. No.
Oh, absolutely. Can't argue with that.
Yeah.
He's always point producer.
It's gonna
every
be
year.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see Pittsburgh and Washington in the same division this year.
Yeah, well, one issue with Pittsburgh is they don't have a backup goalie.
That's right. They only have Fleury.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. What about that Vokoun guy?
Who?
You remember at the Panthers game when he used to make a save? They'd play, woohoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I don't remember because he never saved the puck when he was here.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Because
Oh wait, I'm reading that Vokoun had a blood clot and he's gonna be out for a while.
oh no,
Okay, yeah.
poor guy.
So they don't have a backup. I was right.
Poor guy. I feel bad now.
All right.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on is right. Let's talk about the Winter Classic. How many Winter Classics are there this year?
I don't know.
Winter Classic. So I think we have 3 or 4 this year.
What do you mean? I thought it's just
It's the one.
Leafs and Wings. No, there's more than
Yeah,
one.
I think there is more than one this year. Because there's the one in Michigan at what's it called, at the Wolverine, that the Michigan
Where the
Wolverines play.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean there's the Winter Classic, which is the big one, which is Leafs Red Wings, and then they always have those like Canadian games where they play on ponds and stuff once a year.
Yeah.
But those aren't as publicized.
Right.
My sources are telling me that there's 7 outdoor games this year. I've just been reading.
Where did you get this source?
Facebook.
Yeah.
Apparently it's ESPN Insider, so I can't really argue with that either.
Really. Yeah. But there's talk of there being a couple of more games in 2015.
Yeah, I saw that article.
Yeah, there's the one at Yankee Stadium, right? They're saying Yankee Stadium and Dodger Stadium, both baseball stadiums. So here's what they're thinking for 2015. They're saying Ducks versus Kings at Dodger Stadium, Devils versus Rangers at Yankee Stadium, and then Islanders versus Rangers at Yankee Stadium. So 2 games that the Rangers are going to be a part of in 2015 within 3 days. 2 Winter Classics.
They're a market team. They'll make money.
Yeah,
Can't really argue with that.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. That's going to bring in a lot of money for the Rangers.
Yeah, they've got that old fan base. The devoted fans have been there through thick and thin.
Yeah. But also the Penguins and the Blackhawks at Soldier Field on March 1st, 2015. And then the Senators at the Canucks up there and on that pond. And
Great White North.
Yeah. Whew. And it's in Vancouver at BC Place where the Vancouver Whitecaps play in the MLS.
What's the MLS?
Excuse me. Don't ever say that again.
No, seriously.
It's
That's not like
football.
Oh, football. See.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not football americano. Football.
Oh, okay.
Sí.
Bueno.
Yeah, bueno. So you got that. So you got the Winter Classics this year. Do you like that they're expanding the Winter Classic to more than one game this coming up, or is it just gonna? Is it just gonna take away from the once a year experience?
I love the Winter Classic. I watch it every year, but expanding it is definitely great because you'll get more fans to come out and experience it. obviously, it may be a while if the Panthers before the Panthers get invited to one of those things. So that's the only reason that it kind of saddens me.
I've been hoping that they could host one at Marlins Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been people overlook that it's an indoor stadium. They could cool it down in there, can't they? They could turn the AC up.
I don't think Lauria's going to pay for that bill.
Lauria doesn't seem to pay for anything these days, though. But yeah, I've been hoping maybe one of these days the Panthers might get to host a Winter Classic. That would be cool to see in a hot environment, right? Wouldn't that be pretty cool?
Yeah, they could have like roller hockey,
or maybe Tampa versus Florida, and then they play in Tallahassee in the winter, because it's cold up there in the winter.
Yeah, it like blizzards and stuff.
Yeah, like it gets into the 50s. It's freezing.
All right.
Yeah, but what other teams do you want to see play in a Winter Classic? Because we've seen a bunch of teams play.
It'd be cool to get like Minnesota in there.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Or you?
Yeah, they would play at University of Minnesota. Where they had that Monday Night Football game with Brett Favre playing in his...
How could I forget? Vikings, Eagles.
You remember that, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it was on a Wednesday, too.
It was? Oh, yeah, because they pushed it back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that. They pushed it back because of the Metrodome.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely Los Angeles is going to get that game in L.A. Phoenix, I don't know if it's cold enough there. Do you think?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they could always play at somebody. That's one thing. You only need one person to host.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I heard Dallas was going to host one at Cowboys Stadium, or what is it called now? AT&T Stadium?
Oh, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones Arena? I don't know.
Jerry's World, they call it, right?
Right.
Oh, and I want to see one up there in Winnipeg. I want to see, because it's always snowing up there. I want to see that.
Yeah, they can draw fans too.
Yeah. If they have a big stadium up there in Winnipeg, that'd be cool to see, because you see how they only have like 15,000 people fit into their arena right now, right? And they've sold out for like for the next 20 years or something like crazy like that. But they sell out every game. And it'd be cool to see if they could play in a big stadium and see how many fans they can really draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what would be cooler?
What?
If they just got a bigger arena.
Yeah, I think that's far off though.
Uh-huh.
That's pretty
probably.
Yeah, because they just moved. They had to invest a lot of money in that move. So I think that's pretty far off for Winnipeg up there. In Canada. Yeah. So I think that's all. You want to play our quote of the day from Mr. Randy Moeller?
Why don't you go for it? I think it's time.
Yeah. Let me roll it up right now. I gotta put it on. Let's see.
Rolling.
Okay. Here's Randy Moeller with the movie quote of the day.
Ballard steps into the middle. He and Bowmeister will trade. Ballard, quick strike, shoots, he scores! Ball! The Meatloaf! Panthers with a power play goal. They got a 1-0 lead.
So that is something there. Randy Moeller, of course, the Florida Panthers announcer. He does movie quotes after the Panthers score a goal, and that's what he's famous for saying movie quotes.
Yeah, he'll never run out of quotes since we don't score that often.
You're so funny. Yeah, I don't know. We'll do our at the end of our show every week. We'll do our Randy Moeller quote, and I can't wait to see what he has in store for us this year. You got a quote, Jonathan, that you want to say? Any quotes? Putting you on the spot there. I'm sorry.
Hard work beats talent, and talent doesn't work as hard.
That is very, very inspiring, Jonathan. Well, thanks everybody so much for listening.
Wait.
Oh,
I
do you
gotta
got?
do my surprise play from the East, don't I?
Yeah, of course. Oh, wow. Can't believe I forgot. Wow.
Yeah, we started talking about outdoor hockey.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Right. So let's see here. Gonna go on a stretch here and say Tyler Myers.
Yeah?
Yeah, what team does he play for?
I have no clue. You and Jared probably, you guys dialed this one up on me, didn't you?
No, this is just me.
Yeah, I'm sure. You guys think I know nothing about hockey, don't you?
Well, I mean, clearly you don't know who Tyler Myers is. The defensive prospect and stud in Buffalo.
Yeah, well, I'm a Florida Panthers fan. What can I say?
Nothing, because we came in last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Got that?
Surprise player in the East this year is I'm gonna go with Gabranson on the Florida Panthers, the defender on the Florida Panthers.
You can't spell elite without E-R-I-K.
Eric Gabranson. He's one of those players that gets really physical around the boards, and it's fun to see when he how he checks and how well he can also shoot the puck. Don't look past Eric Gabranson. Why do I want to see? I want to keep saying Jason Garrison because he was one of my favorite players when he played for the Panthers 2 years ago. But now he's moved on to bigger and better things there in Vancouver.
Yeah, he had an off year after coming here with 16 goals for a defenseman. That's a big number.
That is a big number.
And I read Gudbranson had like 10 shots on goal in our first preseason game.
Yeah, I heard that defensemen couldn't even count that high. Yeah. But, I mean, the Panthers have an okay team. You look at them, they got some good players, some good prospects coming up too. As you want
to best prospect pool in hockey, if you ask me.
Yeah, like Bukestad is one to watch. He scored a bunch of goals up there at the University of Minnesota.
Yeah, got concussion now, so he may miss a couple games.
Yeah, I saw that. And Barkov, you always.
He's still a question mark. He hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah, but he's one of those. He's a big player. He's a big dude. 6'2", 205. I mean, he's a player that can win that faceoff, and he can also shoot the puck. And don't look past his passing ability. He's only 18 years old, isn't it? I mean, that's just crazy to think about. How these players are coming out of high school or college even to play at this young of an age.
Yeah, that talented Panthers prospect pool. You got Vincent Trocheck. Led the OHL in points last year. He had a beast of a season. Hopefully he can come up and produce. You got Rocco Grimaldi. Guy killed U18 tournament during the NHL lockout last year. So, just some names to put out there and watch.
Yeah, and I hope Bergenheim comes back this year. He didn't play at all last year.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, he's another guy. We've got so much depth. We're just lacking that first line of, point per-game players, but hopefully Huberdeau and Barkov can help us there.
Yeah, Barkov. I mean, what do you think the starting line is going to be for the Panthers? The number one line for the Panthers, of course. It's going to be tough. I mean,
you know what? I'm not the coach, so really, what I'd like to see is Huberdeau, Versteeg. I guess you'd have to put Barkov in first line center, but I'm not sure who else to put.
I'm not sure if you throw Barkov out there in the first line yet. I think you put Gotch as the center on that line just because he can win he's shown that he can win the face off on a consistent basis.
Yeah, I mean, if Barkov impresses in camp, don't be surprised if he's on the first line.
Yeah, I mean, Panthers are really desperate right now for someone to step up and take that leadership role.
And then the defensive pairings. I mean, you got Kulikov and Campbell, the Rocks back there, on the top two.
Yeah. Well, I like it when Gabranson and Campbell play on the same line. I think they play well together. They play off each other and they both it's with the righty and the lefty. I think I like that tandem a lot.
Yeah, another name we left out here, Drew Shore.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Were you?
Yeah, I was. He
yeah,
played well last year.
He's one of those guys that could be a top face-off taker on that second line. He did a great year last year, first year in the NHL. Not much of a point producer, but nice little two-way forward.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of good players coming up here for the Panthers, and there's something to be excited about. And we're just gonna have to see. And of course, they signed Tim Thomas last week, right?
It was a preseason contract, but
right.
Hopefully he'll
I think
sign. He's one of my favorite goalies.
Yeah, they'll probably sign him, I think. But you think Markstrom gets the nod this year at starting goalie if they don't sign Thomas?
Oh, if they don't sign Thomas, it's gonna be Markstrom all the way.
Yeah.
Another year, yeah.
It only says he's 178, which I really don't believe. You think he weighs 178?
I don't know. I weigh like 178. So that'd be hard to believe.
You look at him; he's definitely bigger than Clemmer.
Who we should have signed? The Universe. Ilya Bryzgalov.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's not scared of any hockey players. He's scared of bears in the forest and stuff.
Yeah, you saw him on 24/7 a couple of years back.
Yeah, he's a warrior. The universe is so humongous big. Can't argue with that logic.
Yeah, I'm sorry to bore all of our other hockey fans around the country, but we have to do our Panthers talk. They're our team, and you do the same. We're homers, yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think that's all that we have for our hockey show. Our first, and of course not our last, but our first hockey show of the year. We're getting really excited for hockey season. It's going to be fun to watch this year, and go Panthers.
Yeah, why do we throw rats on the ice again? I thought we were the Panthers.
Oh, you want to hear the story? Should I tell the story?
Go for it.
So in about, I think it was 96, yes, 96. In the locker room, there was a rat. It was an away game. There was a rat, and with Scott Mellenby's stick, Scott Mellenby killed a rat with his stick, and he went out with that stick and scored 3 goals, which is a hat trick.
2 goals.
2?
Yeah.
Oh, it was 2 goals?
It was 2 goals.
Wow. 2 goals. And even though it wasn't 3, my cousin actually, Scott Tinkler, the equipment manager at the time for the Panthers, named it the Rat Trick. And it's stuck with that team ever since. And that's why fans started throwing rats onto the ice. And you saw in 97 during that playoff run how many rats were thrown on the ice in between goals. That's why we now have the rule that there will be a penalty served if there's anything thrown on the ice, really.
Yeah, that's a tough rule. You never know what can happen, and opposing fans could throw rats on the ice to get penalties drawn. You never know.
Yeah, that's what happened with the Devils series.
Well, no, I mean, I don't know if that actually happened. It was a rumor. But you never know.
Yeah. Anyway, that was my quick story on the rat trick that Scott Mellenby scored in that game. And I think that's all that we have for today.
Yep. So I guess another week or two, and then we'll do a first week analysis.
Yeah.
About who's doing what.
It's exciting. It's definitely it's really exciting, and I'm happy that the season is finally upon us.
Amen.
All right. Well, it's been great. I'm Jeremy Schnell.
I'm Johnny Baxter.
And This has been the Hockey Night in America show. Good night.
Live from Los Angeles, we thank you for listening to another presentation of the National Sports Radio Station on Spreaker.com.